And we started the recording now. Hi, everybody. Really, really nice to see you. Our startups are joining, and we're also recording the session for those who will see the replay later. I'm going to give a word over to Stefan, who is the CEO and the director of the accelerator.
Thank you, Dasha. Nice to have everyone from the Nordic ecosystem here today, and the startups that are online and or watching later. This is going to be really interesting to hear your thoughts on the Nordics ecosystem for startups. These short introductions that we're going to have here. So I'm really looking forward to this. DigitalWell Ventures Accelerator is an accelerator for HealthTech, digital health tech companies. We work both in the Nordics and the Baltics. So tomorrow, actually, we will have a session with the Baltic ecosystem as well. But today we're focused on the Nordics. So yeah, and for everybody joining, please ask questions. This recording won't be shared outside of the accelerator companies and the incubator companies that we also invited here today. So this will only be available for those. So please, any questions is open. Isn't that so, Dasha?
Yes, of course. Please send your questions in the chat or mute yourself after the presentation and ask them. And we will now kick off with the presentations. So the first one up is, or are, our guest from Denmark. We have Oded with us from the HealthTech Hub Copenhagen, and also Signe from the Danish Life Science Cluster. And I'm looking forward to you sharing a few words about how does the HealthTech ecosystem in Denmark work.
Excellent. Yes, many thanks. So should I start with an overview of our hub and what we do? Excellent. So one sec. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. So my name is Oded, and I'm from HealthTech Hub Copenhagen. And what we do, we're based in Copenhagen, and let's see if I can just move this one. Our North Star is to improve healthcare, like I would assume everyone here. And of course, the North Star is to improve the health of 1 billion people worldwide, but we start step by step. Let's start with our own and then move globally. And we're called HealthTech Hub Copenhagen, but we focus on software. So not medical devices per se. We have two companies that have a physical product, but the innovative part is the software, the algorithm. And we're called HealthTech Hub Copenhagen, but we, of course, cover all of Denmark. And we have even two companies from the Netherlands as well. So if you would like to enter Denmark, you're welcome to be part of our hub. We select our members and we focus on scale-ups. So those that are ready to scale and have a feasible product. And feel free to ask questions throughout the session. So I don't need to belabor the obvious, but digital health is for reducing the shortage, to have more treatment at home, less on the hospitals, and improve the quality of life, not just the longevity. And we have three pillars. We're kind of a weird animal in the ecosystem. We support our members, so we have a physical hub that people can rent an office, but we have members from, just like I said, from all over Denmark and also from the Netherlands. We have partners like Novo Nordisk, Roche, and that we support them with the digital health adoption strategy and sparring. And we are also a think tank. So politicians from Denmark are coming to us and we're coming to them, and we are promoting digital health adoption. So if you're familiar with the DIGA in Germany or Pecan in France, so we are advocating for that also in Denmark. So we are creating reports and we share them with the politicians. We are 11 people, and we're going to have one more very soon. We have 5 different nationalities. And so we have 3 different things that we work on with our members. One is, of course, we connect them with the right talent, because Denmark is quite small, as you know, so it's hard to find talent. And we are helping them also with funding. We connect with the right investors, and we help them to ensure that their business model is feasible. We ensure that they get as much clinical feedback as much as possible, and that's why we connect them with hospitals from Denmark, but also from outside, because what is working well in Denmark not necessarily works well in India, the US, Germany, etc. And we're also connecting them with the other ecosystems. So when startups like yours are reaching out to hospitals, you need to bear in mind that every doctor gets on average 60 emails a day. So on the first email, you get fluttered. On the second one, you say, okay, that's nice. But on the third, you get tired. So when you do it through an ecosystem and you do it through a framework, you get more opportunities, because also, as we mentioned, hospitals are almost burned out. Like there is not enough space to meet new companies all the time. And we're not going to sell on behalf of the companies, but we offer solutions. So we reach out to hospitals and we make the partnership. So we have startup matchmaking, online, physical, and we see that there is a lot of good feedback from the partners. And with our core partners like Novo Nordisk, Roche, pension insurance companies like Pension Denmark and Trug, we've helped them find the best solution. For example, for mental health, we got one project from a health insurance company asking to find the best mental solution in Denmark. And why would a health insurance company would like that? Is because they can get their members faster back to work if they get burned out, depressed, etc. So we do the tech scouting and we curate with them the right strategy for them to embed it in their offering to their clients. And of course, we brand them and bring them to the right events. Those are our members, and we have around 30. We aim by 26 to have 150. Right now, they're all scale-ups, but we will open in 24 also an early stage track as well. And the way that we, maybe that will be relevant for the startups here, how we evaluate our members is about the team, first and foremost, and the product development. What about their clinical validation? We help them with regulatory compliance, if they know enough the market, their business model is valid, how well they do customer acquisition. Is that scalable outside of Denmark, or can it work only in Denmark? What's their financial health? And what about their partnerships? You know as well that an investor would like startups that can scale that outside of one country. So as I mentioned, we have 31 members, but we cover the entire ecosystem of around 250 startups. We have the largest database of digital health in the Nordics, and we keep monitoring that on a quarterly basis, all of the startups. And it's also on our website, so you don't need to screenshot that. It's all there. Just like a few examples, so we have Osaya, that helping with the osteoporosis. It started as a project at the university, and then they spinned out as a startup. And now they have only in Denmark 200,000 patients that they support. It's part of the guidelines right now in Denmark to use this app. We have Corti that made the largest Series B round in Denmark of 60 million euros. And what they do, they transcribe automatically with AI. For example, ambulances, or instead of the secretary to type everything, or the healthcare provider. And radiobotics, that they do radiology AI. As you know, radiology suffers from a severe shortage. There are not enough not radiographers or radiologists. So AI can be there not to replace, but to support and detect if there is a fracture or any other pathology. And Denmark is quite known in that ecosystem for radiology. We have partners, as I said, like TMC, which is the largest health system in the world, but we have many others outside of Denmark that we are cooperating with, and we are connecting with our ecosystem and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the largest hospitals in Denmark. Yes. So that's from my end. If you have any questions about Denmark, or you want to be part, or anything else, I'm always available. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Oded. I think that was a very comprehensive overview of what does the
I did my best.
Copenhagen HealthTech Hub do. So thank you very much. Startups, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and we will also share your contacts with our companies and our alumni companies later. Signe, I know that you also have another meeting coming up, so super welcome to give us an overview of the Danish Life Science cluster as well.
Yeah, thank you. I have issues with my computer. I hope to fix it while I was speaking, but I can't. So I can't share you any slides, but please reach out if something I said didn't make sense or whatever, just ask. My name is Signe. I'm from the Danish Life Science cluster. The cluster ecosystem in Denmark is clusters within every type of business field. And that means that we is part of the life science ecosystem in a really broad sense, from welfare technology to the most specialized pharmaceutical. And that's why I won't make a comprehensive overview of the Danish ecosystem, but it's because it's really broad. But I'll try to point down on some of the things that I think are brilliant, some of our own programs and some are others. HealthTech Hub Copenhagen is one of the most important parts of the ecosystem regarding health tech. And what Danish Life Science Cluster is doing is trying to connect the dots. So we are connecting a clinical program with a health tech program, connecting our members, which are the companies within life science, again, broader sense from early startup to the bigger ones. We have a lot of different programs in Denmark. We're really fortunate to have the Novo Nordisk Foundation that supports a lot of different programs, a lot of different aspects. And then one of the programs they're supporting is called Biomedical Design. And that is actually not a program for startups. It's a program for entrepreneurs or entrepreneurial spirits. So they enroll in this program and have 10 months within full-time innovation. And they start by going around in the clinic, at the hospitals, looking at whatever issues is there. And then from there, figure out what kind of solutions do we need in this really pressed healthcare system. We often say that we work for a more sustainable healthcare system, and that's both the greener aspect, but also, for the ones who work there, it needs to be a sustainable work environment. And as you know, we have a lot of issues, and that is where the digital solutions come in. The Danish government it's called a Robustness Commission. They give a lot of, had an evaluation of the Danish healthcare system, and they have a lot of different points, but one of them is that we need to set more focus on the digital solutions that can help this healthcare system. So there are a lot of opportunities for health tech in right now. The window is open.
Oops, it looks like Signe's connection got lost. Well, hopefully she will rejoin, but I'm going to put also Signe's contact here in the chat. Oops, here she is. Okay.
So sorry.
We lost you for a moment.
Yeah, sorry. As I said, I have my issues. I hope I finished the sentence, but otherwise just reach out. Another thing I really want to emphasize is that we have an initiative that is called the Behovsfabrikken. It means demand factory. It's an initiative where hospitals invite the companies to come in. They tell them what are their needs, and then the companies, startups, scale-ups, whatever, it really doesn't matter. They have the possibility to say, I have a solution for this. Can I come work with you? And as Oded says, it's really, it's difficult to find the right connection within the healthcare system. So that program is really great at bringing those together. I don't know how much time I have left, but one of the things I really want to focus on is a program that I started myself. It's called the Regulatory Journey. And as you all know, MDR is here to stay. It's difficult. It's new. It's changing. I think notified bodies is not that difficult to get in contact with anymore, but there are some timelines and some money issues with getting your product to market. And what we have done is, together with a Finnish company actually called Lab Quality and Lean Entries, have built a software digital learning tool where you can play around with MDR and IVDR. So you can say, my tool is this, my solution is this, and then in the end you get a report of how do we think this looks. What kind of technical test do you need, clinical investigation, clinical evaluation, all that. And then you can change your answers and see what that means for your timeline and for your money. So you can, it's not set in stone what the report says, but it's really as a learning tool to get familiar with MDR also really early in the process, because MDR or the regulatory stuff is extremely important. Even though you just think you're in the innovation process, you still need to make the right choices. And it's not always that you really want to be bothered with the regulatory stuff in your innovation process. And some might even say it actually stops creativity. But what we're trying to do is sort of ease it in, so it's easier to understand and learn, and then it becomes a natural part of your innovation process. And what the scope of this program is that the companies, even though they're early startups, they present their regulatory strategy for a board of consultants and regulatory experts, and then they get feedback. And of course, there's also peer-to-peer sparring in this, getting the companies together, really trying to crack this nut about getting your product to market.
Perfect. Thank you, Signe. It's really good that you mentioned that, because we actually have an MDR and CE session with our startups this week on Wednesday. Yeah. So we'll also try to bring the attention to the importance of this topic. So really appreciate it.
If you want to, you can share the links to both your company, to the organization, but also to this. If you have some information about this program and tool, please share it in the chat here as well. That would be great. Yeah, because it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you also very much. And now I think we have a better understanding of one of the Nordic countries and players in the sessions. And I would like to pass the word over to Louise from Business Sweden.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm going to get a few slides up here to see, to make it a little bit more interactive. Let me know if you can see the screen now.
Great, it's loading.
Hello? Yeah.
Now we can.
It's loading. Can you see it?
Yes, you can. Now we can see it. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. No, I want to give a brief introduction to the life science industry in Sweden, and especially to the health tech ecosystem. But to set the scene a little bit, I'm representing Business Sweden. So we're a half governmental, half private organization with around 40 offices around the world, closely connected to the embassies. And we have a government assignment to help Swedish SME companies with their export and take the first step to internationalization, but also helping international companies establish and get started in Sweden. So if you're a Swedish SME or health tech, or if you're just looking into the options in Sweden, are interested in establishing here, then feel free to reach out. But our reason for being is that the 50% of, just like all the other Nordic countries, Sweden is highly dependent on export. So 50% of our GDP comes from export, and 50% of Sweden's export comes from foreign companies. But also the life science industry and pharmaceuticals in particular are Sweden's second largest export category. So it is a very significant industry for Sweden, and we always want to highlight. But just to set the scene a little bit for other Nordic countries here, just about the Swedish healthcare system. It's highly decentralized, divided into 21 regions and 290 municipalities. So municipalities are responsible for elderly care, and they're not actually allowed to employ doctors, whereas the regions are responsible for the healthcare. And say that especially in primary care, there are also a lot of private companies and private clinics, and you can see that we have a lot of telehealth actors coming into that space. Other than that, with a statutory health insurance, we do have private health insurance, but it's not that well utilized and usually connected to your employment. But it still exists. And for our life science industry, it's a vast and significant industry for Sweden. 52,000 employees, around 3,000 companies, and very, as you said in Denmark as well, it's very well spread across both pharmaceuticals and medtech, diagnostics, and quite all areas of the spectrum, with giants as Astra, AstraZeneca, Getinge, Elekta, and so on, but also many innovative small companies coming up that really benefits from incubators and actors such as you. And there's quite a high government agenda for life science as well. We have a national vision to be one of the world's 5 leading life science regions, and also a specific vision for e-health. In 2025, Sweden will be the best in the world using the opportunities offered by digitalization and e-health. Now, 2025 coming up, so I'm not sure if they will live up to that promise, but it's an ambition at least. And a lot of Sweden's strengths come from our strength in research and from academia, and with especially Karolinska Institute and the Karolinska Hospital banking very well in that area. And it all boils down to research and taking care of the innovative findings from the academia. We have quite a unique system for that called the teacher's exemption. It's a system where the researcher actually owns the intellectual property of a result. And I think it's only maybe Italy in Europe that has the same system. A lot of others have the tech transfer offices, but we don't really have that in Sweden. Instead, we have a very active system of incubators connected to the academia that take care of research findings and academics that want to commercialize on their findings and just create startups and companies. And we have around 70 incubators, test beds, and science parks that are really there to facilitate for the life science startups to make them prosper. And there's created a quite extensive ecosystem of digital health companies that are coming up. And I think especially the telemedicine area, telehealth consultation is one where we have a lot of very well-funded startups such as Kry, Doctrine, Doctor.se, and so on, but have also taken on Europe and trying to expand beyond Sweden. And similar to remote monitoring, that's an area that has been quite well developed as well. I think it all is a bit of a combination between strengthening life science academia, but also from the tech ecosystem with companies such as Spotify and Klarna, Ericsson, and so on that have the digital side of the health, and combining both creates quite a strong ecosystem. And with some examples of some private-public partnerships for healthcare digitalization that we would like to promote. One example is the Center for Rural Medicine. It was up in Storuman in the northern part of Sweden, in a very, very rural area. And it's now become a WHO Europe demonstration platform for remote care and how to actually manage patients and create equal care, even if you live in cities or if you live in a rural area. So we have used quite innovative technologies in telemedicine and in remote monitoring, and we use this cottage hospitals where we have connected to telehealth consultation can support. So it's a great initiative to show potential of digital health. And also in the area Linköping in the middle or south of Sweden. There's a large cluster in medical imaging. We have the Arena Visual Sweden there, that is one of Europe's most active innovation environments in research for image analysis and visualization. We also have a Center for Medical Image Visualization connected to Linköping and connected to Sectra, the company as well. So it's quite a very active area in the field of medical imaging. And another example is this third one, last one, implementation of information-driven healthcare for AI application. And that is Region Halland, also in the south of Sweden, that has worked actively together with a region, together with small startup SMEs to actually utilize the health data in the region and to use this edge learning. So you a little bit overcome the privacy issues and can actually use health data for AI development. So we use it mostly for operational, tactical, strategic decisions. Have come far to pioneer that area. Unfortunately, it's very decentralized in Sweden, so it's mostly in the region Halland they have been able to use this, but hopefully it can spread to more regions. And then a little bit of a funding landscape as well. So we have, there is a large amount of government funding that can support some things on Vinnova, the Swedish Research Council, especially Almi as a big investor in early stage startups. And then we do have the larger VC investors, EQT Ventures, Industrifond, and Kinnevik that are very active in the health tech space. And as you see on this graph, it is really the health platforms or digital health here that attracts the largest amount of funding. Now you can see with Kry, Doktor.se, Dr. are really taking in the big rounds of funding. And we don't have the data here, I think, for 2022, and it's not as good as 2021. I know it was an exceptional year, so I think it's more equal to the level of 2020, much due to the current economic landscape. But it's still an indication on where the VC capital is actually going and how big health tech is in the space of attracting the capital. So to conclude a little bit that the Swedish healthcare example, we have come far in a lot of areas, or maybe not compared to the Nordic countries, but compared to many in Europe at least, with 99% e-prescription rate, a high use of electronic health services, and come far in the use of telemedicine as well, consultation. But of course, everything is not perfect in Sweden as well. We do have still struggle with implementation. Like the regions are really good at coming up with pilots and inviting SMEs and also international actors to collaborate in pilots and pilot projects for digital health, but actually getting a full-scale implementation and also collaborating across the regions. That's one of the main challenges in Sweden that we really need to work on to implement digital health on a larger scale. But please feel free to reach out if you're a Swedish SME wanting to look at internationalization, or if you're if you're looking into establishing in Sweden and setting up here. And we're really happy to help out and connect you with whoever can support you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Louisa. It was also exciting to see on the list map of startups the company Northern Light Diagnostics, which is also an alumni of our accelerator as well as a spin-off from KI. Super exciting.
They're a really fantastic solution for
antidepressant management.
Exactly. Good to hear.
Great. Thank you. Super nice to hear also the overview of the Swedish startup ecosystem. Next one up is Preben from Norway and Innovation Norge. I hope I'm saying it correctly. So the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Let's see. I was trying to share my slides in the chat, but I wasn't able to. So,
it's fine. You can also send them to me, and I can send it to companies later on.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, so my name is Preben Fjellaker Mathisen. I work in Innovation Norway as a financial advisor. So basically, what I do every day is I assess applications from early stage startups, which are like basically in the startup pits of putting together the team and the funding and so on. So yeah, and I work in the Oslo team. So I'm not necessarily specialized in health tech, but I'll try to give you an overview of what I know about the Norwegian ecosystem. And for those of you who are not familiar with Innovation Norway, we are part of also the government landscape. In Innovation Norway is an independent business, independent entity, but it's the Norwegian Ministry of Trade and Industry, which is our employer. And I just want to give you an overview here of the different departments and some of the funding landscape in case you go in that direction, because you see also Forskningsrådet and SkatteFUNN are out there. And this is our sister companies, and you see how we kind of fit into the government ecosystem somehow. Yeah, so it's a Norwegian Ministry of Trade in Ministry of Trade, Industry and Fisheries, which is our employer with the counties across Norway. And we have somewhat local and global mandatory to take support the Norwegian entities to grow and hopefully go abroad and provide exports and such, and help to build Norwegian commercial ecosystem. So we have offices across Norway. There's 17 of those, and we in each office specialize in its regional industries. And we also, like in Sweden, we have offices abroad. Innovation Norway is somewhat the commercial arm abroad, so we are situated among the embassies, and we are in 27 countries. Typically, if there's a Norwegian entity who goes abroad, we try to bring them along with the delegations or provide networking and such, and especially for Norwegian, in the Norwegian health tech scene, Singapore is one of those offices which have somewhat collaboration across borders. I'm not going to talk much about our services because it's like somewhat toward it can be kind of broad. But what is interesting to talk a little bit about is the cluster program, because I see we have initiated the cluster Norwegian HealthTech. And they have about 270 members, I believe, within the HealthTech sphere. And actually, in January, they are going to a pavilion in Sweden. So if you are in the same event, you should definitely reach out and see if we can make any collaborations there. Or yeah. Talk about some of our funding schemes. I don't know if you are like in the, if there's any Norwegian companies there, or external investor, like external investors are trying to initiate a startup or establish a company in Norway, we have funding schemes to get started. I'm not going to go too much into those here now. I just want to give you a really quick overview, because we're trying to follow the startup on this pathway to like putting together the product and finding the customers and finding the team and the funding and such. And we try to assess our funding throughout the application through like, and we name our grants such as Startup 1 and Startup 2, and there's like the loans when the company is being more commercially mature. So especially for R&D driven, I would say that like within health tech scene, there's like a lot of R&D driven projects. It's like a long, quite some time before you get to the market, and there's a lot of testing, basically pure research and development. And those types of funding are often more in the sphere of Forskningsrådet, Norwegian Research Council. So I definitely would like address you to those as well if you are in this segment. When the solution is becoming more commercial and ready for the market, that's where Innovation Norway typically steps in to provide grants and funding to commercialize the technology or the underlying product, or actually also putting from a technology into a product. Yeah. And just to give a brief overview on how to approach Innovation Norway, it's like basically would start off with the application form. And you don't have to say, like, just to get like a quick conversation, you can start off by like writing about your company, and there's like a, I'm not gonna say chat function because it might take some time, or like maybe a few hours or a day or two before you get an answer. So it's not like a chat. But you get there's an ability to get feedback on the solution and what we can provide you with, what we can help you with as a company, in terms of funding or services and whatnot. So that's typically like the approach to Innovation Norway, is through our, just log in and you can start communication with us there. At the end there, I have an overview of the ecosystem in Norway, and definitely in your segment, it would be a LEAP, which is like the incubator for health tech companies, and also startups and more mature companies, and there's like where academics meet. So that basically address you to them and see what they have available. I think it's fair to say, like, Innovation Norway's part in this is we have somewhat, I'm not going to say use your word collaboration, but we support them as best as we can, and we try to address the companies in this type of portfolio. So if there's like any events and such, then we try to follow who is like in their portfolio and support them as best as we can. And usually before we also have, but sometimes we also actually have grants to boost the ecosystem and fund certain projects within an ecosystem. Yeah, this is an overview of the accelerator programs in Norway and also some abroad, on the right side there. And I think this list is pretty much covers most of what's happening in Norway. Yeah, and also Siva is our sister company. And if you're doing research and like you are, Siva is, while Innovation Norway is funding the companies, Siva is more the arm toward the ecosystem, and they fund like the research facilities and such. And typically in the catapult programs, they have like research institutes or research hubs within manufacturing technology, future materials, and DigiCat, which is called. And take DigiCat, for example. That is a health tech company, which is one health tech company who applied their virtual space to build a MVP, a digital MVP, and test this table, or to address hospital beds and such. Instead of like building a prototype physically and testing it in hospital beds, like with the drawers and how it fits on the bed and how disabled people use it and such, they just did it digitally, and they did like iterations on the solution there. That's like one example within the health tech scene. And they also have the incubator program. You can see who they're funding across Norway. Yeah, that's it. That's what I have to say for this one. Thanks.
Stor takk, or not sure how to say it in Norwegian, but
yeah,
thank you.
It's like that. Same Swedish, I guess.
Eller tusen tack.
Tusen tack. Yeah.
Tusen takk. Thank you, Preben, for a great overview of the Norwegian ecosystem. Would really appreciate if you could share the slides with me over the email, so we could distribute to the companies. And well, last but not least, here comes the overview of the Finnish ecosystem by Aline. So
Yes,
giving
this will be a very brief introduction because, as many of you know, I'm working as a innovation ecosystem partnership manager here at Compare, DigitalWell Arena, DigitalWell Ventures, Health Data Sweden. But I'm based in Helsinki. I'm right now at Epicenter, our office here in Helsinki. And I will give you just a brief introduction about what I have seen here since last year. That was when I started my activities here in HealthTech. I will just share a couple of slides that I will be very happy to share with you all. And yes, so let's put it here. And I can be sharing with you all. Okay, yes. I don't know if you can see this small box.
Yes, all good.
I try to put here in the corner. So yes, it's just some insights about the health tech innovation here in Finland. I'm based, especially with the focus in Helsinki. So that's what I'll be talking now. The ecosystem here is quite well connected, and see the next slide. Yes, and then it was created a map that is quite interesting with these lookout as the subway lines, where they have been mapping and showcasing, and there is a map like that for all the main Finnish cities here in Finland, both like showcasing the main innovation, the main hubs, startup hubs, the test opportunities that exist, the investment pathway. So I will share this and you can look into detail, and I will just talk about some of the main points here that might be of interest to you all. Starting with the startup events. As some of you know, in 2 weeks, we will have one of the biggest startup events in our region, that is Slush, that is happening every November or December. And this year we have a couple of companies joining us in this event, but for the next years, the alumni will be happy to help to guide you here at Slush. But as you know, Slush is not a health tech event. It's generic, or there is players from all different industries coming here, 12,000 people. But in June, every year, like this year, we have the first edition of the Radical Health Festival, which was very good. There is representatives from both from the public and private sector in the healthcare system here in Finland. And I would highly recommend you to take a look in the website that I highlighted here and see the program for the next year. And also, if you're interested in exploring more about the Finnish ecosystem, to come here next year. And there are some events like the Art 15 that is focused as investment forum, quite big. Next year it might happen also in Stockholm, but the main one is happening here in Helsinki. And for the companies that are considered to be a deep tech company, there is also the Nordic Deep Tech Business Summit that is happening in October here in Helsinki, but also not specialized in health, but a main startup activity. As a startup hubs, there are many, but the Terco Health Hub here in Helsinki is the one that is specialized in health tech. They have a very active community with startup programs together with the Helsinki Incubators, and also a co-working space where they host events together with some local partners, including members of the health tech and also pharma industries here. I would highly recommend you to take a look into them. And also in relation to the hospital and test beds, there are many different testing opportunities here. The HUS test bed, that is the Helsinki University Hospital, is one of them, and also the test bed Helsinki. I would recommend you to take a look at them, because they offer, like, for device and services for using and testing it in real environment in their bed. There is some requirements, of course, that you can read in here. And if you can either contact them via website or get in contact with me, because I can facilitate introductions with people from all these test beds in here. And yeah, so I mean, if you are interested in internationalization here in Finland, we are very happy to help you. So I would just recommend you to contact me directly, and then we can discuss different pathways in here in this very interesting market. So that's very brief, and that's what I had to say today. And yeah, very nice to see you all.
Perfect. Thank you, Aline, very much. I think there's a lot happening in Finland as well in this
Yes.
space. So startups that are now in the call, here's your chance to ask Aline, Preben, or Louise your questions about the region or Swedish or Finnish ecosystem, or we will also share the contact details over the email and you can ask your questions then. But yeah, it was very exciting and very interesting. Certainly, I think our alumni companies would also really benefit from seeing those presentations afterwards and for having you as contact persons in these countries. So we really appreciate it. Tomorrow we will have a lunch session on the Baltic or New Nordics ecosystems as well. So if you're interested in hearing about Estonian, Latvian, and Lithuanian startup ecosystems, you're also very welcome to join. I can send you the invites. And yes, if there is no questions now live, then I think we can wrap up a little bit early and get back to our busy Mondays. And yeah, just wanted to say once again, a really big thank you for finding time to present today for all of you from business organizations.
I want to say a big thank you from me as well. And until next presentation, you can also add the DigitalWell Ventures and the DigitalWell Arena logos to your presentations. So we're included in the whole ecosystem as partners because we're working in all these areas, both getting companies here and getting companies out. So it's really, we really want to continue this work together with your organizations. Just want to say that. You don't need to add the logos. It's just a try to make a joke. Yeah, but yeah. So
yeah,
thank you very much. First. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you again.